You tried some Dutch delicacies last night. How was that?
It was very interesting. I like to try everything when I go to a new country. I try to join in. I'm not a super duper herring kind of gal, but I tried it. I did that, It's kind of buttery and nice once you get past the fishy part of it. But I liked I don't know what they were. I did not like the fuckwurst. The fuckwurst.
Oh.
Was not keen on the fuckwurst, but I really like that word. By and large, you don't really know how big it's going to be, any of them. Even, Descendants. I did Descendants because I thought my kids would like it, and then all of a sudden it's like this huge, massive thing. Supernatural, I don't know if anybody saw that coming. I was in one of the early seasons, and then now they're at 14 seasons, and Battlestar Galactica. Everywhere I go in the world and do cons like this, there's always fans from Battlestar Galactica. So it's just great to be on shows that have such longevity.
Like Once Upon a Time now?
Yes, yeah. I think Once Upon a Time will be around for a while on this circuit, for sure.
Because that's magic, and you're playing in The Magicians as well. Do you like a lot of magic in your life?
I guess. Clearly, right? I'm always in all these shows that have to do with magic and supernatural things. Yeah. I mean, it would be really nice if we had a bit more magic in our world. That would be great. But it's fun to play that, for sure. If only I had it in my real life, that would help a lot.
Yeah, because you're the blue fairy, and then you could do anything.
Right? Yeah. I wouldn't have to fly. I could just...
That would have been so convenient. Right? No more airplanes?
I wouldn't be jet lagged today like I am.
Oh, too bad. Because you came here from Canada, right? Or was your...
Yes, yeah.
What's it like to be in the Netherlands?
It's lovely. I mean, I've been here before. It's been a while, so it's nice to... I'm going to take a little bit of time afterwards and go and look around and, do the little boats and the Van Gogh Museum or something like that. So I'm always pleased to be here. And the cheese is wonderful.
Going back to Once Upon a Time, you basically played 3 characters. What's your favorite?
Well, it definitely would be the Blue Fairy. And the one from this last season where I finally got the little beautiful little bolero, and I had the big skirt, and I felt so happy. Like, this is the dance I did in the wardrobe. When I got that skirt, I was so excited.
I can imagine. It's beautiful.
It's lovely. And for somebody that didn't get to change for 6 seasons, it was really a nice thing to be able to get something new.
And when you played that, I mean, was it already known that you were going to be a recurring character, or was it just a one-off and maybe a couple more?
I don't really remember. I think when you do the pilot, all you know is that it's the pilot. And I suppose anything has the potential to recur. And I had a brand new baby when I did the pilot. And so I was like... literally, like, she was 3 months old when I auditioned for that show, and she's 7 now. So she's kind of grown up with Once Upon a Time. Both my kids have.
Do they watch it now? Like, are you old enough?
They're allowed to watch little bits and pieces of it, and now because there's 6 seasons, there would be so much for me to catch up on. But I know that they're going to ask, now that they're a bit older and they can watch, I think they're going to want to watch it, because anytime your mom is in a show, you kind of would like to see it, I think.
And as well, it's fairy tales. I mean, kids have to grow up with fairy tales, right?
Yeah, although my kids are like, I don't know, they really are into science and experiments and things like that, so... they're not as much into fairy tales, but certainly they love that I play a fairy, and they love Descendants. I got to bring them to the premiere of that movie, and they were really thrilled about that. Beauty and the Beast. Belle was my favorite because je parle français, and Belle is French, and she's a reader, and I just loved that about her. And I loved that she didn't need to be saved by somebody. That was also, even from the time I was little, that my little feminist loved that she was sort of independent of her own, and I don't know, so that was the one that I gravitated to. So to get to play Belle was great for me.
We talked about recurring characters and also a regular role, of course. It's more Once Upon a Time. And you played a lot of, like, just in one episode of different TV shows. Do you have a preference or for any of them?
I have one coming up that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, and I have a feeling that might be it. I played a drug addict in a show quite a while ago that was really one that always stuck with me, because I just felt I inhabited her more than I didn't make a character. I just sort of lived this person, and there was something really special about that. That was on a show called Da Vinci's Inquest, and I have always loved that one. That's always sort of stuck out to me.
Do you travel a lot for work, or like now conventions, of course, but which do you think is more fun to travel for?
God, anytime I get to travel, I'm always happy, particularly if somebody else pays for it. So it's one of the great things I think about this scene, and to be able to come out and meet fans that, it means a lot to them, whatever shows you're on. And it's wonderful to have people come up to you and say, I love this show, it got me through a hard time, or whatever it is. And so to get to travel around the world, which is something I love to do anyways, and then to get to meet people and have them tell you stories like that, I think it's the best deal. It's part of why I wanted to be an actor, is that I thought it would allow me to travel. So this has been a great boon in that respect.
Do you have a favorite fan memory or meeting or whatever that, it just really stuck with you, a story maybe?
There's so many. Certainly whenever I see people who are dressed as the Blue Fairy, I always love that one, because that's such an elaborate cosplay. So you don't see it all the time, but when you see them, they're really amazing. And those will always kind of stick in my head. There was a great one in Germany. There was one in Chicago, and one in Calgary, and they both won. When I was in Calgary, there was a Blue Fairy, and she won Best Costume at Calgary, and on the same day in Chicago, the Blue Fairy in Chicago won. So I was like, yes, Blue Fairy.
I read that you wrote a children's book.
Children's book, yes. We had it all set, and it was about to be published, and then there was some issues, and so now I'm talking to a different publisher now. In fact, I talked to them this morning, so hopefully things will go well, and that will be out on the shelves soon, because it's a lovely little book, and I'm really proud of it.
Can you tell us a bit more about the book, or like what it's about?
Yeah, it's called Mommy's 26 Careers, and it's an alphabet book about a woman who has had all of these different jobs. And I tried really hard to make them be jobs that were not typical of women. An engineer, one of them was a quarterback for Q. I mean, what else are you going to do for Q? And I just thought it was a wonderful way to show girls that they can do any career. And I think it's really timely right now. And the illustrations are beautiful. Roz McLean did them. And I just think it's an adorable book. There's a little cat in all of them for the kids to kind of find. And the cat's always doing something goofy that has to do with that occupation. And I hope it will be out soon, and we'll be able to share it with the world.
Sounds really good. And I want to read it now.
Great, thank you.
Equal pay for women in careers. You tweeted about that as well.
Yes. Were you reading my Twitter?
Definitely. Always on social media.
One last night, I was like,
no, but I mean, it's a serious issue. And I mean, it's not just in America, but everywhere. No. So do you go to, I don't know, do you talk about it with other people? Or is it like just, how do you think we can change that?
Wow, is that ever a good question? I think it just has really come to the fore with the Sony hack, and you really started to see at the high levels. I think it will trickle down from there. I think it's people in much more powerful positions than I have who are really taking a stand and saying that this is not going to go down. I think it's not always easy to find out at the lower levels what somebody else might be making. I think it's more particularly for, again, series deals where you're on a show. I think we just always have to know what our value is and fight for it. And it's something that certainly as I've gotten older and further established in my career, I have started to ask questions about money things in a way that I didn't when I was younger. And I think that's part of the equation, is women standing up and saying, well, what am I getting for this? And I think we don't tend to talk about how much it's not like we're sitting around at work and being like, so how much did you get for this episode? We sort of don't really do that. But I think behind the scenes, our agents and our managers and the people in production, it starts with them, I think. I think social media has great power for change. That's obvious right now with the Me Too movement. And so I think necessarily the more people are talking about something, the more we start to feel the changes rumbling below. But it takes action. You can't just tweet about something and think that that's going to solve a problem. What I think it does is start the conversation. It starts the dialogue. Once we have a dialogue about something, then we can start to look at how we can fix it, whether that be equal pay, whether that be sexual harassment, whether it be any of the issues that we care about. You can look at this whole thing with the Trump taking away the ban on ivory, which really I frankly will say I think is appalling, but I saw that he sort of backed off on it, and I think a lot of that came from social media pressure. And so there is power there. It just can't end there. We all have to sort of, call your representatives and make sure you vote. I can't say that enough, especially young people, and particularly women, I think. Now is the time to grab hold of the power that we have been waiting for, and I think voting is a big part of that.
You tweeted something about the
I've been trying to behave myself.
Best one line for a movie ever. Do you remember what that one was about?
Yes. Don't miss the climax.
Which movie was that?
50 Shades of Grey.
And do you think that will help make people watch it?
I think it's a very compelling logline, yes. It's genius, it really is. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to miss that. Who wants to miss the climax?
Same. So I just needed to get that in. I thought it was so funny. So
How many times did I say climax in that interview?
I think at least 3 times.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That'll be on Twitter. It'll just be a meme of me saying that over and over.
That would be nice, though. We'll give us a little bit more.
Okay, somebody work on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
And do you still want to show your clothing?
Okay, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah,
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I got my outfit.
Have you tried a stroopwafel yet? Stroopwafel. It's Dutch. It's a cookie with a caramel filling.
No.
Okay, try that one because everybody.
Not that yet. Okay.
So for later, maybe if you're here, you're here tomorrow as well. I'll bring one for you.
Great. Okay.